We hired a car to drive us 4 hours to Cartagena. We rented a flat for a week in the center of the workaday part of town. This weighty sculpture is by, guess who? Fernando Botero. Judith, do you think this is the cleaning cupboard or a work of modern art?
Well, the information notice says it's equilibrium in times of crisis.
Of course, absolutely clear now. Clearly, someone's been let loose in the kitchen. What is this one called?
Equilibrio en tiempos de crisis.
Okay, so the same as the other one. I can see the crisis there with the tumbling refrigerator. Now that's the best artwork of all. And Chuck has a go too. Isla del Encanto, the enchanted island, did not enchant us. It was like Butlins with sunstroke. Medellín is back in the mountains near where we started, so we took a plane.
Próxima estación Exposiciones, estación con rutas integradas y cercana a Plaza Mayor y Teatro Metropolitano.
Medellín was the murder capital of the world, with more than 6,000 homicides in 1991. The first act of its redemption was to provide cheap transport to the masses by building a metro line the length of the long valley in which the city nestles. Ease of local transport helped create attractions like the funky district of Poblado, a magnet for tourists.
Frank.
Pablo Escobar was the ruthless drug lord who corrupted officials and the police. From 1983, his vicious gang of young sicarios, assassins, held the city in his thrall for a decade. Were we being voyeurs going on a Pablo Escobar tour? Escobar built this apartment block to house his family. In 1988, a rival gang detonated a car bomb outside, and it's been empty ever since. The sicarios were religiously superstitious. They would visit this shrine to pray to their own version of the Holy Virgin, Rosa Mystica, to bless the success of their missions. Escobar had strong working-class support. To avoid extradition, he ran for the Senate and was elected. Before being expelled because he had served time in jail, he effected a Robin Hood role, distributing homes and money to the poor.
Gave away his location. That last day, he made various calls to the apartment where his family was under protection, with the intention of giving an interview to a Colombian journalist. To celebrate his birthday, they had wine and ate cake. When Escobar went to serve some wine, he dropped his glass, but it didn't break. Lemon, who was very superstitious, said, "Boss, if you drop your glass, it has to break. If not, it's bad luck."
When Escobar went on the run, leaflets offered a huge reward for information. Supporters replied with their own leaflets, which read, "If you know where he is and don't tell, we'll give you the same reward." Ultima guarida means last hideout. Escobar was tracked down and killed on the roof of this house. Now it's a language school. He's buried in this cemetery with his favorite bodyguard and members of his family. They have a fine view of the city he once held in subjugation. A memorial to two local politicians who led a peace march into FARC territory and were killed. It's next to a monument celebrating racial heritages. Guess who made this? That's right, Fernando Botero. There's a whole museum dedicated to his work. Included within the new metro system are cable cars which ascend the steep sides of the valley, populated with shanty towns. On the way up, you pass over really favelas, just like favelas where the poor people live. And these poor areas were connected to the city really effectively for the first time by this cable car. And before that, there was a bus you took, but it took a long time. I think there were 4 changes. People were very bumpy, and in effect, it barred them from going to the city to work.
This was not what we were expecting.
What were you expecting?
I was expecting a short ride up to the top of the hill with a view of the city, which was perhaps much what we'd seen lower down, but a bit higher up, possibly in cloud. But it involved 10-15 minutes
into the wilderness.
Into the wilderness over amazingly thick forest, looking down on dozens of sorts of trees, and some with blossom and lots of big ferns.
This was 20 minutes. 10 to 3 you said we got. Now 10 past. We traveled by bus along the mountain ridges into the Zona Cafetera, coffee region, near Manizales. We stayed at the Hacienda Venezia, a working coffee plantation.
Es como primo del jazmín y de la gardenia. Entonces por eso también las características.
Pequeñas, bastante.
Cuando se hace la clasificación de café verde, lo que se hace es clasificar por tamaño, porque el más pequeño va a necesitar. De aquí, el café llega de los tanques por esta forma aquí con motobombas, con expulsión hasta este lugar, y después de que se preseca aquí.
Y aquí se hace a lo brasileño.
Sí.
Green,
Le da un húmedo vinagre, entonces ese se lo descarta y se lo hace mezclas con segundas y terceras.
top quality beans, the larger size. These are a bit smaller, not very obvious to me. They're top quality, but they're too small for export. So they're mixed with the second and third quality beans to improve it so that it can be sold at a higher price. Okay, we've walked up from the hacienda, 45 minutes, mostly downhill.
And what have you seen?
Coffee, banana, coffee, bamboo, coffee, views,
The odd butterfly.
some butterflies.
That's where your pole should be, down there, not up there. Bueno, muy suave. Mucho mejor. The sun has finally come out after several days of rain. We're in a delightful, relaxing coffee plantation in the foothills of Colombia. And it's absolutely beautiful, full of juice and good food. Is this the frog that was making all the racket last night? This is a pomelo, is it? And this is the delicious lulo.
And as well as fluff on the stem, the fruit are fluffy and the flowers are fluffy.
It is spiky, and you just pricked yourself.
Yes, I did. Can you see the flowers? Can you get a good view? See, they're all fluffy on the back.
we flew back to Bogotá. And we ordered some more ajiaco.
Puede pasar algún desastre y pum, y se cae todo. Sí, como un hormiguero cuando le metes el dedo, ellos te construyen todo. Sí, nosotros somos muy... Se creen uno superior, pero realmente nosotros estamos superior. La naturaleza puede hacer y deshacer como... Tiene que sonar, tiene que sonar.
We found our way back to Gloria's stall for a final draught of Jugos Naturales, and made a nighttime visit to the plaza and the funky Calle del Embudo, Funnel Street, where everybody lets it all hang out.